In this video, I'll show you some of the features of the Synoptic reports. Arguably, these are the most useful and informative reports because of the way they break down pupil performance and the variety of contexts they provide. As you will see, the report enables users to filter the subject-level performance data to enable like-for-like performance comparisons for a wide variety of pupil groups, whether by pupil prior attainment, gender, term of birth, or by a range of pupil inclusion groups. This report can easily identify areas of strength and weakness and, in the case of a local authority or school group user, can quickly identify other schools that have similar natured cohorts for specific subjects in order to encourage collaboration projects to be initiated. The main premise behind this report is that all schools' cohorts have different characteristics regarding pupil prior attainment and pupil plus characteristics. So to compare overall cohort scores between schools is a very blunt and broad brush way to view performance, and more importantly, it provides a school with no useful information to help them work out where they may target their resources to raise or continue with their current standards. This report enables users to dig down into the pupil group performances to provide a fairer context with which to assess their school performance and to provide like-for-like pupil group comparisons based on fine level prior attainment, gender, and a range of pupil inclusion groups. To access the Synoptic analysis, you can either click the link here or click the button for Report 3 here. Once you do so, you'll get the settings menu that enables you to filter the data as you wish to analyse specific pupil groups or compare specific schools with each other. All schools are highlighted by default, but you can custom select a group of schools if you wish by clicking on schools while holding down the control key. I'll leave them all highlighted for now, so for the sake of this video. We always have 3 years of data available, so you can choose to view previous year, obviously, if you like. I'll leave it on the current year. You can specify the way the table displays the data. Either if you're looking at GCSE or Key Stage 4 performance, then you can either filter the data by Key Stage 2 or Key Stage 3 prior attainment group. This splits up the Key Stage 4 performance into prior attainment groupings, either based on Key Stage 3 or Key Stage 2, so you can see how pupils have progressed from those key stages. You'll see how this works when I choose to run the report. There are 3 performance indicators: the average points, which is just a grades to average points conversion, value added, which this is our own value added calculation, which I do on the national data, and we do a wide range of GCSE and general indicators. I'll leave it on average points for the sake of this. And you've also got the threshold measures of A star to C or A star to B if you're looking at the Key Stage 5. There's also the general indicators that you'll find with A's to C and average points depending on which one you're clicked on. For average points, we obviously do a wide range of subject areas and general indicators, different qualifications, different BTECs, and various other qualifications are available. If I choose, I'll choose English Literature for the sake of the video. You can also filter the data by pupil prior attainment if you want to look specifically at pupils from the lower third, middle third and upper third based on fine level prior attainment, or free school meals pupils, pupils of different ethnic background and different term of birth. I'll leave it on all for now. I also allow you to change the colours that show up in the colouring routine. This is purely to aid people that have visual impairment. I recently had somebody that found it difficult to differentiate between the reds and greens, so the reds and blues enabled them to see the report better. Once you've chosen your year, key stage, phase and subject and inclusion group, just click submit and the report will be generated. You'll see in this table you can look at all pupils together. You can click to view boys separately or girls separately to put the performances in context. Obviously the local averages will change depending on which tab you're clicked on. I'll leave it on the all, which is all boys and girls together. When you're on one of these options, you can then choose to view local comparisons or national comparisons. This will change the colours as it compares them either against local performance figures or national performance figures. So you'll see the figures along the top change as you click on local or national, and the colours will change accordingly based on the context. Displayed in the table, you'll see schools are listed down the left, and each cohort is split up into Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, 4 and 5. These are the prior attainment groups. So Group 1 is those pupils that fall into the national lowest quintile, so the lowest 20% based on national figures, and it goes up each group until you get to Group 5, which is pupils in the top 20% based on national prior attainment range. Each of these pupil groups, if I click on pupil counts, you can see it gives you the numbers of pupils that fall into the different groups. So you can see, for example, Smallville High here has 196 pupils, and this is how they're distributed across the prior attainment range. So 68 in Group 1, 50 pupils in Group 2. If you click proportions, this gives you the proportions of pupils. Obviously, it takes away you can't see the pupil counts, but you can see how the cohort is distributed across the prior attainment range. This is very handy for enabling you to see and identify similar schools. We also include this field here, which is the PA field, which tells you the average prior attainment score of the cohort that you're viewing for this specific subject. So if I was clicked on art and design, for example, obviously not all pupils do art and design, so it would be the prior attainment score of the pupils within each school doing art and design. You can actually sort the table on this field, so the pupils with the highest prior attainment come to the top, and this obviously groups schools together. So if you look at Compton, it's obviously got a very similar cohort to Greyfriars and Wayne's Comp. As you can see, the pupil prior attainment scores, the cohort prior attainment scores are very similar. So obviously this is sorted with high prior attainment at the top, so the school with the cohort more biased towards the top end will appear at the top. As you can see, Waterloo Road here, 70.8% of its pupils in the top 20% based on prior attainment. So obviously the expected score for this school would be very different from the expected score of a school that has over a third of its pupils in the lowest prior attainment group and only 2% in the top. So there's a wide range of different performance cohort characteristics based on prior attainment just within this group here. I'll click back on average points now so you can see the pupil group averages. The colouring routine works out the statistical significance of each pupil group performance against its corresponding local or national context. So all Group 1 pupils here are compared against all Group 1 pupils in the local authority. If you clicked on national, then the national Group 1 average would show at the top and all pupil groups would be compared against it. So in this way it shows you like-for-like performance comparisons as opposed to just looking at the all figure, which can be very misleading because you can have an all figure. For example, we've got a school here that has an all figure of 38.4. When you compare that against the local figure of 42.5, it would appear that it's significantly below expectation. But then when you look at the pupil group performances, you can actually see that they've all done as expected relative to the sorts of pupils they are. So it would be unfair to say that Grange Hill here had done poorly with its cohort, but in a lot of circumstances this is the only figure schools use, and in that context it looks like they've done badly. But actually, when you look at the pupil group performances, they haven't done that badly. They've done as expected with their pupils. And if you click on the pupil proportions, you can see that the reason they appear to have done badly overall is because their cohort is made up predominantly of low ability pupils, which contribute low averages to the overall score and therefore create a lower overall score. When you look at the averages, you can see they've done as expected with these pupils, so that can be a very misleading figure. We include it because a lot of schools are judged on their overall figure, so it's interesting to see how the overall figure correlates with the pupil group performances. If you click on a school in the list, this additional bit of information will expand into view. What this does is it essentially takes the Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, Group 4 and Group 5 and splits it, pulls it apart into 18 prior attainment groups. The lower third, 6 groups, the middle third, 6 groups and the upper third, 6 groups. If you click on pupil counts, it shows you the number of pupils that reside in each of these groups. So, for example, this Summer Bay High, you can see they have 152 pupils in the upper third, 67 in the middle third, and only 14 pupils in the lower third. We also include the prior attainment scores of each of these lower third, middle third, and upper third here, and a percentage of a plus minus difference. This is an actual versus expected difference. So a plus score would indicate that you've done it above expectation, and 1.2, which is 1.2 points. So whereas 6 points would be a grade. So if that said plus 6, it meant that you, on average, the upper third had done a grade higher. Here we've got 3.2, which is half a grade. So the middle third, it shows here, have done half a grade better than expectation, based on looking at each of the individual pupil groups, comparing them against similar pupils locally and seeing whether they've done better or worse, and adding up all those scores to create an overall. If I click that again, it contracts back out of view. Those actual versus expected differences are all combined together and to create this overall plus minus difference, which is an actual versus expected difference for the whole cohort. So if I click on that, it will give you the schools that have, so obviously Compton Comp at the top there has done, over a third, nearly half a grade better than expectation, based on looking at the 18 prior attainment groups. Below the table, you'll see that data is basically included as a graph. So we've got an actual versus expected graph here, which obviously plots the expected score and the actual score. The red line would indicate a score below expectation, and a green line indicates a performance above expectation. Below the graph there, you get the colour key and some notes on some additional notes on the tables. If you want to change the subject, you just click on the settings menu and change to a different subject. So for example, if I wanted to look at maths, I'll just click on maths, click submit, and it will generate the report. This EC index score, if you roll over it, it'll explain that the measure takes account of the performances of pupils from the various prior attainment groups for each subject and how they compared to local authority or group or national expectations. So what this does is gives each school a score on a scale of -100 to +100, and it adds up all the pupil group performances and the statistical significance of the like-for-like comparisons of all of these 18 pupil groups, and puts them together to create a score, in this case 45 for Rudge Park, which basically gives you a rough idea of the percentage of pupils that have performed above expectation based on the statistical significance of each of the pupil group performances. So this is a really useful overall indicator, and can often disagree with the overall, like I said before, this overall figure here, which can be very misleading. As you can see, this is a dark red, so which would lead you to indicate, oh, that's 5 points, almost, that's over 5 points below, so that's nearly a grade below. But actually, when you look at the EC index score, it indicates that they're slightly above. So they're essentially doing as expected with their cohort. The only reason that is low is because the cohort's made up of low ability pupils which contribute as expected scores that are lower than the average when you look at them all together. You can also you can save the report if you've got your own login, or create a PDF view which will generate a PDF that you can download or print, or save to your computer or print off for a meeting. You can also access some additional help on the report by clicking here, which will just give you some additional explanations on the prior attainment groups and all the various aspects of the report for some additional information if you need it.